Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Every Wednesday on the Low Blows Network, the Low Blows team are at hand to break down, analyze, and make fun of all things pro wrestling. Hosted by former pro wrestler Rick Nash. I think the only reasonable thing we can do now is turn John Cena heel.
Selfie with me fucking dog.
Banned from Nigeria. I will be talking to the government tomorrow morning. YouTube star Corporate King.
This elephant has 4 legs. Joe Russell's 4 legs. Joseph Stalin, if he had 2 more legs.
Bonesaw rips off his shirt, yeah, and it says, "Chuck your law, big dirty tricolour."
And the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey.
I want one society, just CM Punk.
So embarrassed. CM Punk.
It's Low Blows.
We get kicked off here on another edition of Low Blows. I want to talk about one thing, and that is pride and the meaning of pride with Low Blows.
It's not a good idea.
Don't
Really?
put it.
No, I
Just leave it.
I'd chop it there. Like I
Okay.
would tuck your balls and go. Oh, I realise how awful that sounds out of context.
Oh, fair joke there. Well, we'll just may as well explain it. Like, we had to explain to Katie Harvey as we get kicked off there. We were talking about the Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose stuff, and Katie's like, did Seth tell him to tuck his balls and go home?
I thought it was a bit harsh, sorry.
Guys, it's been a weird week. It's been a crazy week, and we're going to talk about all of it on another edition of Low Blows. Rick Nash, Katie Harvey, and Corporate Keen in the house as always. Wrestling Twitter. It was so nice for so long. It was really positive, and everyone, well, like, of course, they had the AEW stuff and stuff like that, but then this week it just bubbled over. Everyone's fighting with everyone. Rollins is fighting with, like, AEW and New Japan. He's fighting with Ospreay, and then Jericho's getting involved, and Moxley, and this and that. Pete Dunne and David Starr went at it because of the video that Lowspud, Irish Slam Dan, released from WrestleRama, so they're going mad at each other as well. People even go mad at us a little bit, like, so it's gone crazy, and I guess the peace times are over. The ceasefire of wrestling Twitter is over. So guys, as we get kicked off here on another show, I want to ask, what was your favourite moment while wrestling Twitter was peaceful? What did you enjoy?
Pre about 11 a.m. yesterday. before I started logging on to Twitter, basically. No, Twitter was really nice. It was nice on Friday night after the show because there was lots of lovely tweets, you know, when people were talking about the good things from Fight Factory, like the excellent main event, the excellent tag match, the lovely tribute to Lionheart, you know, the many excellent things that happened on the show.
That was nice. It was, and we will always have the memories. Corporate Keen, your favorite time from peaceful times on wrestling Twitter?
I don't know.
Here's a hot take. Keen hates peace.
Keen's only in it for the war.
I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't really check Twitter that much unless there's like shit happening. So
Unless I send him screenshots.
yeah, then I go to him like, oh, let's see. I don't know.
He's on it all day.
Yeah, I mean, like, unless it's like, you know, dog videos or something like that, I'm not really all that interested, I suppose.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you must be loving it now because everyone's shouting at everyone now. So.
Yeah, it's actually a bit hard to keep up to. That's the only thing. I'm like, I don't know who's right or wrong or who's you know, good and bad. I'm kind of just like, just gets a bit messy, you know what I mean? But see Cody Hall as well. Cody Hall and Joey Janela today.
No, what's going on now?
Another little scrap there. I
just sharing the goss to get kicked off here.
I think Joey Janela said something like a tweet that basically had "leave me alone" in it, and then Cody Hall was like, "Why are you saying leave me alone when you like put out a tweet? Because obviously it's gonna get responses and stuff." And then Janela just ripped into him. He was like, Jesus. "You're 29, the son of Scott Hall, and like you're not signed, you're not getting any bookings. You know what I mean? Get your shit together and all that sort of stuff." I was like, "Oh, okay, it's another beef to add to the beefs.
I love when people go to 10 on Twitter. I love when it's like, hey, you shut up, and it's like, I will kill your fucking family. It's just like, where the fuck? There's obviously a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes there. So we will discuss it all. There's loads to discuss. A great show from Fight Factory. We will be talking about the good from there. OTT WrestleRama 3 was at the weekend. A lot of people loving that, so we're going to be running through that. We're also going to be talking about our hot takes from the week, but first, I want to get us kicked off because last week we had we didn't have a flagship. We had a special edition of Low Blows, which we taped earlier in the week, and of course that meant that unfortunately we weren't around for the untimely death of Adrian McCallum, aka Lionheart, last week. Looks to be in absolutely tragic circumstances as well. We put up a picture of his last tweet on our own Twitter, and I'm sure you've seen it by now. And just heartbreaking stuff. I'm just going to basically reiterate what I said on Fight Factory on Friday night in our tribute to him. That, like, to kind of, for people who don't know Lionheart and don't know of his impact, might have just heard the name. You might have heard him when he had all that stuff with AJ Styles, like, and you don't really know. Here's the perspective I want to give you. Lionheart helped build, was a key person in building ICW when it rose to prominence. That was kind of the Kickstarter for the Brit Rest revolution. Without ICW, I would contend you don't have OTT today. Like, OTT is very different from ICW now, but I remember when OTT came out and I'm like, oh, it's like ICW in Ireland. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of idea, but they've evolved since then as a company. But ICW were the catalyst for so many other promotions like OTT. So, like, because of the work that Lionheart and his cohorts put into ICW, because of the boom they led, we get the likes of OTT, and we get our own kind of revolution over here. We get the likes of the Big Sean. Like, if you don't think that without OTT and without ICW before then, we're going to have a packed Big Sean on 3 weeks' notice with Jonathan Gresham in the main event, you're kidding yourselves. Like, so that, like, even though he may not have been directly involved or directly responsible for it, like, him and the people that built that generation, of which he was absolutely key, helped create a better world for us all, and will absolutely be missed. Was the reigning ICW heavyweight champion, like, so was still very much involved, very much in the mix, very much contributing to the scene. Will absolutely be missed, and I think there's testament to the character he was and to the legacy he will have in the business based on the outpouring of tributes to him. A heartwarming moment when The Rock, who he had said he always wanted to meet, put out a tribute to him while posting pictures of Lionheart at The Rock's star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So, like, sadly, it was in his passing that he got that dream fulfilled. But an absolute legend of a man. Keane, you would have been familiar with him from watching ICW, obviously a big fan from the early days. Can you kind of speak more about, for anyone who wouldn't have watched or wouldn't be familiar, about what Lionheart meant to you and meant to the product as a whole?
Yeah, no, like, that's the reason. Like, it was just so shocking because he was literally the face of ICW. Like now, you know what I mean? He was a champion. And again, he was one of the people that built the place. He's one of the people that's been there for years. His feud with Jackie Polo is, like, one of the most kind of, like, the biggest name feuds in the history of ICW, and he had loads of great matches and stuff. And yeah, I don't really know what to say. I'm still kind of shocked over it. And yeah, it's horrible. There's
so much that's been going on since, and I think we've been kind of, I don't know, I think a lot of us have been leaning into a lot of the other stuff because the mind isn't built to think about stuff like this, to think about stuff this tragic and sad. But I think it's important that we take a moment to pause. I only got to meet him a couple of times with Irish Rip Wrestling back in the day. Didn't really have many dealings with him. Katie, you got to share a locker room with him a lot of times. Kind of, what was kind of the personal impact of Lionheart upon that you were able to observe anyway on locker rooms and whatnot?
Yeah, he worked for PWU quite a lot last year and the year before. And he had a great match with Josie. He had a really good match with Phil and Michael May, a triple threat, and a couple of other matches. He was just always just a really nice person. And I know, like, that's a very generic thing you can say about someone, but he was just genuinely nice, polite, would always have a chat. But the thing that stuck out to me is he was very much on board with helping the younger wrestlers in the scene. again, like, you know, if he wrestled them, giving them feedback, if they asked questions, helping them out. I believe he was very instrumental in More Than Hype getting to ICW.
Whoa.
He was very instrumental in getting the ICW PWU show up and running, I believe. And like a lot of people have just spoken about, like he was a trainer as well. He ran a school, he ran a promotion. About just what a good trainer he was. And you can definitely see that shining through in the backstage with the time he took to talk to people and kind of help them out. He did a seminar for PW. I know a lot of our guys who went up to it said it was absolutely brilliant. They really enjoyed it. And he was just, because, you know, seminars can sometimes be very, very fucking dodgy, like. But he was one of the good ones who took the time to actually work with people individually.
And, you know, it's taken from us way too soon, and what looks to be in tragic circumstances, though we don't want to get bogged down in that, but it is important that low blows, we've spoken about mental health issues and stuff like that, and it's important that if you find yourself in a dark place, that you do talk about it to someone, that you realise that sometimes it's darkest before the dawn, and that there are always other ways, because you see now how much people miss Adrian and miss Lionheart, and unfortunately he didn't get to see that and didn't get to know that, and things could have turned out differently. So if you ever find yourself in a similar dark place, do reach out to someone. There's numbers out there everywhere. People are putting them up on Twitter there, and make the call. Talk to someone. Help yourself, because this is just tragic. It's heartbreaking, and we could talk all day about this, but we do have a show to do, and we want to move on. I'm sure you guys want to talk about the wrestling week that's been, so we're going to get kicked off as we always do with the news, and we're going to give our hot takes on the stories that have been given our attention, taking our attention, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
Hot Takes.
All right, going to get kicked off with our hot takes, starting with the one and only Queen of Irish Wrestling for the latest, Harvey's hot take.
So it's been like a pretty hot week in wrestling with lots of arguing, lots of things. My hot take isn't actually to do with any of that, surprisingly. Okay. This is just something I heard backstage at the Fight Factory show on Friday, and I just got absolutely incensed by it. So basically I was talking to a friend of mine who's a promoter, and he was talking about recently he had someone in for a seminar, and basically at the seminar they shit all over being a main eventer and a champion. This guy held that company's belt at the time. And I just got so fucking furious, because he was there speaking to a group of young wrestlers saying, like, being a main eventer is shit. It doesn't matter. Being a champion doesn't matter. This is all fake fighting. None of this counts. Like, you know, the dream is work the opener and then sit back and then go home early and miss the rest of the show. I just really fucking hate that attitude in wrestling. It was one of the things I detest. Because, like, being a main eventer is a big deal. Like, okay, yeah, it's cool to be in the main event. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that. I love being in the main event. But on the flip side, it means the promoter has put all his faith in you to represent their company. You know what I mean? And they've said, like, this is the person who's going to be the face of my company. This is who I'm going to trust to close my show and send the fans home happy. It's a massive deal. And to be champion, it means the same thing, that someone is trusting you with their name and their image. And I just think if you get to that stage where you're like, I don't care, fucking quit and give your spot to someone who wants it. Like, and like, I won't name the wrestler who it is, but like, I'll tell you at the break. But it just incensed me, and like, I'm actually going over to do a seminar for that company at the end of the year, and I will be delivering a completely different message, because I was speaking to one of the trainees for that seminar, who was at the seminar, and they were really upset afterwards, because he shit all over what they're working for. And like I said, like, this doesn't matter, this doesn't count. Basically, you want to show up, work 10 minutes, get paid, and then fuck off to McDonald's. And like, it just made me furious. And I know it's nothing to do with all the crazy stuff going on Twitter, but like, it's just maybe a slight insight that maybe listeners won't have to things backstage that really annoys me and annoys other people in my position.
Yeah, and it's an interesting discussion that you don't hear talked about a lot. Like, guys, keep your eyes peeled for Katie Harvey's The Main Event Is the Only Thing That Matters seminar.
No! God damn it! Context again. Every match is important, and I do also like the opener.
No, keep an eye over that. No, it's very true. Look, I get there's a bit of pushback within the industry of wrestlers who are like, because the old school attitude was, if you don't want to be the champ, get the fuck out of the business. And that's an overcorrection, you know what I mean? Because you can have a happy career in the mid-card being a novelty actor, a comedy actor, this or that or the other, or something that, like, isn't traditionally a main event spot, like, and you can have a happy career, but the main event is very important.
Yeah, and it's just a terrible message to pass down to new wrestlers. And also telling them, like, be in the opener and then go home. No, if you're a new wrestler, find somewhere to watch that show from. I don't care if you're peeping through a curtain. Watch what comes after you and then figure out why they're in a bigger spot than you. And then work to do that as well.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Oh, he's a twat. My seminar is going to be deadly.
Moving on. So I want to talk about the controversy that blew up last week, which seems like an age ago at this stage, regarding New Japan and the Wrestle Kingdom ticket issue that a lot of American people are finding. You might have seen. There was a lot of high profile. The PW Torch did a big column on this at one stage, and it was a big issue. What's happened here, for anyone who may have just seen bitchy tweets about New Japan, and obviously that probably would have stood out like a sore thumb, because that's not what you usually see on Twitter about New Japan. The story is this. Basically, for Wrestle Kingdom and for their bigger shows, they do international tickets, but what they do is they give kind of the best seats, the floor seats, to people within their fan club, so which is only open to people who live in Japan. Now, what's happened is, in previous years, people obviously want to be in the front row and whatnot for Wrestle Kingdom, so there's been kind of an underground business set up where people in Japan will, like, buy the tickets physically for you in Japan, and then you'll pay them when you get over and get collect the tickets off them, and that's how Americans and whatnot have got front row. New Japan are cracking down on this. The problem people are having with it, and I've heard people say that this is fraud at one stage. Like, the wrestling fans are getting hot about this. Like, the problem is that you do have to sign up to the fan club. So American people would have signed up to the fan club anyway, paid the monthly subs, and then they still got a ticket, but they just didn't get the best tickets because it went to the people who lived in Japan, because New Japan barred third parties from buying it. So does all this make sense so far, what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, grand. I just want to make sure. So if you guys are confused, so are the listeners. So people are going mad and they're saying, well, they took the money. They took the money for the monthly things. All right, okay, let's add perspective here, all right? This is a non-issue. Like, for example, if I pay money for, say, Netflix and try and get the American version, and then they crack down on that, I'm like, you took my money. And it's like, yeah, but I went through a backdoor way of trying to get the product that I wasn't meant to get. So yeah, the company is going to take your money. No, it's not fraud, because you tried to defraud them by beating their system, and they are entitled to take your money. I'm sorry this hasn't worked for you. I do feel bad because you went to this effort to get a front row ticket, but at the same time, you tried a backdoor way of doing it. It didn't work. It's not necessarily, people are going out and saying that it's racist. It's not racist. Like, it's not like, if you're an American who lives in Japan, what they're doing, okay, and to contextualize this and to put it into perspective, if OTT over here did a scheme where the regular fans were the ones who got the front row seats, and got that, and they were like, they pay a monthly subscription, and just to make sure they want the best fans who know the product the most, I'm pretty sure that most people over here would say, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair that they get the front row seats rather than people coming over from Britain because they book some imports that they want to see in a match they want to see. You know what I mean? It's fair that Keane, who goes to every fucking Contender show, goes to every training show, that goes to every fucking Belfast or Cork show, travels up and down the country and like supports them with his life, gets a front row seat, as opposed to some guy who's seen like the Walter Devlin, Sean Ryan video and it's like, that's cool, I'll give that a shot. I've more money, so I'm just gonna like pump that money into it and get front row. I don't think that's unfair in New Japan to do that. All they're doing is looking after the people who are going to be in Cork and Hull for the rest of the year when they're doing all of their other shows, and they're making sure they get the best seats because they're the most invested in the product. I do get why people are disappointed, but also I've experienced this. I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast. I went to Japan before and I saw Wrestle Kingdom, and I was like, oh, this is a once in a lifetime trip. I'm going to go for the front row seats if I can get it. And then I realized, oh, they're not even open to me. That's not a thing. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, well, that's fair. The people who are at every single show in their local promotion, they should get it before me. They deserve it. They're the diehards. They're the day oneers. I'm the fucking blow-in whether I like it or not. I think this is... Like, I don't know if Irish or English people would necessarily have the same attitude. I think this is more of an American attitude towards it, where it's entitled, where it's like, I paid to see those tickets, and God damn it, I should be there. I should be in the front row. And it's like, no, you shouldn't. Like, why would you be there ahead of a person who's there every single week? Why would you be there just because you're offering more money? No, these are the regular fans. They deserve to get in. And also as well, like I've spoken about this on the show, American fans, and I'm not trying to start a war here, Lord knows we've enough of them, but American fans nearly ruined Wrestle Kingdom on me. Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, like, they started trying to... So Japanese crowds watch in their own way. They're very quiet. We got a taste of it in Fight Factory. It was really cool. Michael May against Jonathan Gresham, where everyone's quiet and pays attention. But then when something cool happens, the crowd comes straight up. You know what I mean? That's a Japanese way of watching the show. But American fans, when Omega and Jericho came on, they're like, Jericho! Jericho! And I'm like, no, I'm not coming to Japan to hear you do your smart mark fucking chants. Do you know what I mean? I'm not coming to hear your clever heckles that you've been working on. I don't give a fuck. I'm coming to Japan to watch it like the Japanese fans do. I'm in their house, so I'm going to respect their rules. Like, I had one fucking doofus in front of me, like, just shouting the entire time. It was a no DQ match. And, like, Jericho's outside, and, like, he's walking around outside. You probably remember it, and he's, like, talking into the camera and, like, being charismatic and stuff like that. I think he lifted the camera and started, like, shit-talking the crowd. And then there's one guy in front of me who's just like, count him out, ref! Count him out! Count him out! Why ain't you counting him out? And this went on for about 30 seconds, and I go, there's no count-outs in a fucking no DQ match. Shut the fuck up. I was on my own here, and I just screamed at him, and everyone just laughed at him around, and then even his girlfriend kind of smiled, and I was like, alright, yeah, I'll shut up. But I kind of get why New Japan don't want that in the front row. I kind of get it. It like, makes sense.
Football clubs do it as well. You can't buy, like, tickets to big matches unless you've already been to one earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's a normal sports thing, is it not?
It's not that abnormal, but Americans just like to get what they want. And, like, calling it fraud. They're frauding us. It's like, all right. I think it's Todd Martin, I think is his name, wrote a column, and it's like, all right, you just come across like a butthurt fan who didn't get what you want. Calm your fucking tits. All I'm saying. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so I was on Twitter just after the last OTT, and there was a video on there. I can't remember who put it up, but it was a video of a fan who was sitting with Vicky Haskins in front of him, and basically he zoomed in on Vicky Haskins' arse and took several pictures. And my hot take is just that's a bit weird. Could you stop? Like, please. Like, I don't really know what to add to that. I mean, is there any other? I mean, I feel like this is a very kind of obvious hot take. Like, I'm kind of just stating the obvious. It's not something like I feel like should even need to be said, but like apparently it does. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's to add to that.
There is a subreddit for this. Because I vanity searched my name on Reddit before, which was a fucking mistake, by the way. I know, it's alright. Most people were fairly okay. But then I stumbled across this subreddit, and I can't remember what it's called. But there was myself and some other Irish girls tagged in, and it was basically pictures people have taken at shows of just our crotches and arses.
Come on.
And then, yeah, that's what it was. And I was just like, Right, glad I fake tanned my legs that day. It's really weird. It is really weird.
It must be so unnerving.
It is kind of unnerving. Like
you're like, I remember that moment. I remember that. Oh my god!
I was gonna say, when you see that, do you look and think like, which one was that? Like,
yeah, you must. You have to.
Or I'm you haven't heard an idea.
She's doing her no comment face.
But it is a weird thing, like, and like this is the flip side, I wonder if Vicky Haskins has seen that.
She's responded.
Oh, has she?
And she came back. I can't remember what she said, but it was an absolute boss response where she's just no selling it
because she's
just
the
like, yeah, I look
world.
fucking great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was something like that, and it's like fair fucks, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I agree totally with what you're saying. Don't worry.
that's good.
It's a no-brainer.
Maybe Rick was the fan.
It's a no-brainer. No, do you know what I've seen though? A little bit, and like it's one of these cases where it's like, right, everyone here is being a dick. I noticed people started like a witch hunt on this guy. Now this guy got like, you know, it was like he's embarrassed. He knows who he is, and he's seen that video, and he's like, holy fuck! Thank God there's a fucking guy standing in front of me where they didn't get my face, because holy shit, he has learned his lesson now. I don't think he'd be doing, and like you can see into his phone, you can see the WhatsApp conversation that he's having with his creepy mates who he's sending these pictures to. It's like really weird, but like everyone's like, let's name this person, let's find him, let's fucking kill him, let's bomb his house, let's kill his family. And it's just like, alright, you've made your point, relax, don't you become the dick because of it, you know what I mean? It's like, this guy has learned his lesson. He's nearly got outed on social media as a fucking creep. He may be listening now, and this was not your strongest day. This is not like your best day. This was one of the worst. And and you've got away lucky here. But let's just like, he's learned his lesson. Let's just leave it alone. Let's not like go fucking sending SWAT teams to his gaff. Alright, like, okay? Because that's when everyone else becomes a dick as well. You know? Am I wrong in saying that? Should we be sending SWAT teams to his houses?
I would like to know who he is.
You know what I think would be the perfect punishment? Someone taking pictures of his arse.
yeah. Vicky Haskins just grabs it over to the paper. All right.
Drop the trousers. Bend over.
There's a middle ground there, but like I don't like the tone and anything. You've got an influence to me. I don't like the pylons. It's like I don't like when people are like, let's ruin this person's life. You know what I mean? That's not okay. That leads to other shit.
Yeah, I get
bad. That's all I'm saying, just to add a bit of balance in there. But totally creepy, mate. He's not going to do it again. He can't possibly do this again.
He doesn't.
There's just such a difference between like looking at a picture online that someone has taken of themselves and put out there and thinking like, oh my god, they're gorgeous or they're sexy or whatever.
Do what you may.
But creating your own content is, I think, the issue.
Yeah, it's copyright infringement as well.
Do you know what would be gas? Imagine he was just like old and really bad at using technology, so he's like trying to use his camera. It was like a complete accident. Like,
trying to take a selfie. Look at me at the wrestling.
Yeah, he doesn't even realise it's her arse. I look really good today. Anyway, guys, moving on, we're going to talk about the in-ring. It's time to talk about the good and the bad, because it's time for...
Say something stupid.
Say something stupid. Worst of the week. Starting with Rarity in Say Something Stupid. Let's talk about OTT WrestleRama 3.
Right, so just mentioned Vicky Haskins, yeah? I'm going to mention Vicky Haskins again, because she made her debut in OTT in the Mark Haskins-Terry Thatcher match. And I was buzzing for this match. This match was so good, right? This is like... I mean, we'll get to that, yeah? But it was for the title. It was Terry's moment. It was going to be great. My fear going into it was that everyone was going to be cheering for Haskins, because at the last show there was more people and a lot more like casual fans. Right. So in the triple threat that had Haskins and Thatcher in it, people didn't really know Thatcher, I don't think. And everyone was cheering for Hoskins. But this was the other way around. Hoskins was getting booed. Terry was getting cheered. This is his moment. I was excited. And Vicky Haskins comes out and ruins it. Fucking Hoskins, yeah, he won. But he only won because Vicky was there cheating and interfering on his behalf. It was bullshit. And the worst part is, Vicky Haskins, the arrogance on her walking around thinking that like Linda won't just come in and knock her out in seconds. If the two of them had a scrap, do you think Vicky Haskins would even be able to walk afterwards?
Linda, of course, Terry Thatcher's.
Oh yeah. And yeah, basically, I think Linda would kill her. And Vicky Haskins, she just ruined the match for me. She upset me, and yeah, But another thing I want to talk about from OTT, right? This isn't an OTT thing. This is just a wrestling thing in general. But I noticed that OTT on Sunday, so I want to mention it.
Okay.
In wrestling, I hate when wrestlers are caught in a submission and they tap the mat, but they're not submitting.
Yes.
I fucking hate that. I hate that. It happened so much. Like, no, it didn't happen so many times. It happened a few times, right? But it's like at one point, it was Maxer and Desmond, I think it was, and Maxer like hit like it wasn't like he hit it once. Like he hit it like a few times. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, at what point is this submission? But like, he tapped it a few times, and everyone immediately, like, normally the fans don't catch it. You might see one or two going, but then like they just sit down afterwards. Everyone noticed, and was just like, he tapped out, and Max was still in the submission, and he just, you don't see his face because I can't remember what movie he was caught in, but you can't see his face. You can just see his hand, and his hand turns into a middle finger, and he just sticks it up at everyone.
Nice, nice. Well
but like
played.
it happened in the main event as well, and I can't remember.
Had a reason in the main event, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like there was a reason for it. I just couldn't see from where I was sitting.
David Starr had Walter in a submission, and Walter did the tapping thing, and then David Starr let go of the hold. It was like, I won, and like dropped to his knees, like, I won. But like then Foxy was like, no, he wasn't tapping.
And was it?
He was tapping though, was he?
Was
like
it?
physically he was tapping, but he wasn't submitting. So this is your point.
That's bollocks. He tapped like.
Was it kind of a Brazilian tap in UFC? Like sometimes this is like a way people cheat in MMA, where they'll tap, but only the other competitor realizes it, and then they'll let go, and then they'll just turn back on top of it.
No, like this was a visual tap.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but it was what Keane was saying. Like it was.
Oh,
But why is
interesting.
that not a tap?
Like he wasn't submitting, but like his hand was tapping.
And that's another one that stood out to me. There's a lot of people in front of me that all stood up and were like, "Oh, start fighting me, Walter!" Oh, and then Foxy's like, "No, he didn't tap, but he did tap."
We need clarity on this.
Yeah, I don't get it.
We need the OTT rules committee to go and have a meeting and come back and like there's a 4 tap minimum. If you tap more than 4 times, you've tapped out.
No, but this again, not just like everyone. There needs to be a World Wrestling Commission. Everyone just sits around at a table. One promotion brings each person, and we just discuss it because it's bollocks. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Even when it's clear that they're like just slamming themselves onto the mat to try and get the rope, I don't like feet. Feet I can kind of get because they're just kicking. It's desperation. So I'm like, all right, fine, I can get that. But hands, I'm just like, if you tap, you tap. That's just the way I don't know.
From a wrestler's perspective, how do you see this?
Oh, I agree with Keane.
Okay.
And I once tried to work a clever spot where I tapped but didn't submit, and the crowd shit on it. So, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea.
All right, fair enough. Tried and true from experience. In at number 4, one real quick one from SmackDown. You may have seen the news story this week that WWE's latest bright idea is they have the wrestlers stop wrestling during the ad breaks. And that's led to a lot more elimination matches and 2 out of 3 falls matches, so to give them natural excuses. But apparently what they're doing at some shows is they're just like turning the lights down, the wrestlers just go to their corners, and then they come back up, and then they start locking up again. Yeah.
No, that can't be true.
I've heard. This is a live event report, so I don't know. Obviously, we don't get access to the breaks, but I am hearing that that's the way it's gone. And the logic, I don't know what the logic is. I assume there has to be some.
Just whack on a chin lock, like.
Yeah, like working for 3 minutes or something.
You should do that in Fight Factory. That'd be gas. Just turn all the lights off and be like, we'll be back after the break.
Just stand there really quietly.
He's trying to get me killed. But what that's led to is SmackDown had 2 out of 3 falls matches this week, which is like, what? This is really weird. Like, why is this the new way of settling it? You know what I mean? Because eventually you have to go into kayfabe and you have to be like, what sense does this make? Why are these 2 out of 3 falls? Like, why are they not? And it's because they're long and they're going over multiple ad breaks, so they randomly become 2 out of 3 falls. But there's no on-air explanation for why any of this is happening, so it's just random. And it's just like, we don't get 2 out of 3 falls a lot. Then there's 2 on the show for no reason. And it's just like, why is any of this happening? Just give us some clarity. And like, as well, we know WWE do this shit all the time, where we're like, this is the new thing we're doing, and then 2 weeks later, it just gets forgotten about. I'd love if someone actually went out and made a list of bright ideas that Vince had, tout being the top one, like. But like, I'd love, we all know this isn't going to last. We know this is going to be gone within a couple of weeks.
Wait, 2 out of 3 falls or the ad breaks?
2 out of 3 falls.
Oh yeah, I don't like them matches.
Yeah, it's weird.
In general, like, I don't see the difference between getting 2 falls and getting 1 fall.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why that's a match decider. And then people end up giving up falls too easily. Mm-hmm. And then I don't really like that. It's kind of my issue with Iron Man matches as well. I prefer when Iron Man matches go like down to the wire.
It's because they're saving their energy, because they kick out, every kick out release, it requires energy. So They save their energy, they take the pinfall now, and they'll get it back later. Do you know what I mean?
But it's such a minute part of the match, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of them either, I gotta be honest. But then if you win 2...
you just don't want to agree with me.
Yeah, that's it. No, but if you win 2-0... This is the thing. I'd like 2 out of 3 falls matches if they won 2-0 often, and it was like establishing your dominance kind of way. But it's always 2-1. Yeah. Always.
And it's always like the heel wins the first fall, then the babyface has to come back. Yeah, it's always
cheating or like a sneaky roll up or something.
Yeah. Although they did an interesting one this week. I think it was Dolph and Kofi, and they did an interesting one where Kofi won the first fall, but then Dolph kicked the absolute shit out of him in between the falls, and that led to the ad break. So Kofi's still recovering when he comes back, and they start the second fall. And then it's like, right, Kofi won the first fall, but now he's the underdog. Dolph is going to take him apart. So there are ways to do it, but there's no need. We don't care. This is a stupid fad that's not going to last. In at number 3, talk to me about what's going on in NXT.
There's not a lot going on, to be honest. Like, it's a weird, like, post-takeover lull now where, like, they should be building up new stories, but they're not really.
Oh, really?
There's not a lot happening outside of the main event scene. One thing that struck me with the women's division is, like, next week, or it's actually going to be tonight, we have Io and Shayna in a cage, which is going to be whopper. But then the girls' match this week was Tainara Conte against Xia Li, and it was just not the best. And I just think the women's division, there's too big a gulf between that main event scene and then what they're putting on when it's not the main event. And I don't understand why, because there's lots of really good girls, so I don't understand why you're putting on like 2 girls in training together rather than like a more experienced girl and a newer girl, like building a more solid division. Like, you've got Mia Yim and Bianca Belair just underneath the main event, but like there's just too big a gulf for me personally. Like, it's not catching my attention the way it did when like Sasha, Bayley, Becky, Summer Rae, and you had like 10 girls like varying abilities, all like different combinations every week. This feels like 2 divisions, a main event division and a developmental division. And I hate saying that because NXT is a developmental TV program, but the gulf was too big for me.
Like, I don't see why they have to have 2 trainees go out and have a potentially bad match when you can have, say, Mia Yim against one of those trainees, have a match that is kind of a squash but also looks coherent and good and builds up, and it builds to something. Mia Yim is now stronger because she's won that match in 2 minutes or whatever. I just don't see the need for that. Anyway, in at number 2, I want to talk about Stomping Grounds from this weekend. Look, for what it's worth, it's been getting a lot of shit, like, because ticket sales have been bad. It's one of the lowest ever one of the lowest ever sales for WWE pay-per-views in history, and there just wasn't a lot of buzz going into it. But you know what? I think WWE seemed motivated and they pulled out a decent pay-per-view. It wasn't anything like you could miss it and not have missed much, but it was a decent pay-per-view from start to finish. But there were a couple of things. First up, just a really small thing. Roman Reigns was wrestling Drew McIntyre. At one stage, Shane McMahon got involved and knocked Reigns out, totally KO'd him from breaking up a pin. So Reigns is pinning McIntyre. Shane jumps on top of him, and then just the act of Shane jumping on top of him knocked Reigns out enough for Shane to be able to roll him over to the corner and successfully hit the Van Terminator move on him from the other side. I'm like, how has that knocked Reigns out for like 30 seconds? He just jumped in and hit you in the back of the head. And also as well, like, Akeem's going to be like, he caught him with an elbow or something like that. It's just a straight elbow. Shane knew that was going to happen. Shane like went for it and then immediately went Van Terminator. Like, it was just a bit stupid and a bit shit. But the main reason I want to talk about is Lacey Evans. And I'm not anti-Lacey. I'm not like, I actually really liked, we didn't get to talk about it because we did the show before Raw Air last week. She did a really good promo with Becky setting up this match. I really liked it because it fleshed out her character a bit, where she's like, I was in the Marines, I did this, I did that, I'm an actual badass, but I choose to be this way because this is what I feel the women's division needs. And she fleshed out her character. She was strong on the mic, and I was like, okay, this is good. Then the match happened with Becky. It was the opening match. I felt really bad for Becky. I felt really bad. It was awful, and Lacey was the awful part of it. Unfortunately, I'm not just saying that because it was a bias. Like, she can't feed for a start. So, like, Becky at one stage went for it. Do you know the way she does the little leapfrog, but then she back kicks them, like the kind of mule kick? She went for that. And then Lacey wasn't there, and she's just, like, kneeling down on the ground. And then Becky just shouted at her. She's like, come at me. And then she goes for it again, and Lacey still doesn't move. And then Lacey eventually runs at her, and Becky does the thing the third time of asking. Forgetting spots, like, case in point, but she forgot another few spots. This is a really annoying thing, and American wrestlers are guilty of this because they don't have that kind of technical background and training a lot of the time. Her holds don't make sense. So she's just literally grabbing an arm, and like, especially if you know how holds work, you're like, that doesn't hurt. Like, she went for an armbar at one stage, and she just like grabbed Becky's left arm and then put her 2 feet either side of her shoulder. And like, she wasn't wrenching, she's just holding it, and it's just like, you're just holding her arm. You're not like, and poor Becky has to sell and be like, and it's just like, and then like literally at one stage she forgot what she was doing, so she just grabbed an arm, but then like, again, she's just lifting her arm, she's kind of locking the 2 arms, but like, she's not adding any torque to it. She's not like, Becky's arm is just in the air. There's no like move, there's no twist, there's no anything happening there. It's just really bad. And also another thing that I dislike, and again, one of these things I could put down to, she's inexperienced, and I don't want to be a dick and shit on an inexperienced wrestler. But all of these things put together is someone who should not be wrestling the person who just main evented WrestleMania. She forgets her character when she wrestles. And this is another pet peeve I have with a lot of the NXT. She's a really well-defined character, and they've gone and done work to flesh it out, like I just spoke about on Raw. And then once she gets between, she just is a normal wrestler. She's not a lady in any way. There's no poses. There's no spots where like she gets her down on the ground and she just like blows a kiss to the crowd or something like that. That is a really easy thing. But then she's just a normal wrestler. She puts the head down. Maybe she just forgot all of her shit in this match and she just panicked and that can happen with inexperienced wrestlers when they forget the match. They just put the head down and they just they look like the ground. They want the ground to swallow them up. Maybe that's what happened here, but I noticed it and it was really bad and I just felt for Becky. That's all the bad I have from Stomping Grounds, though. Like, it's just basically one match at one spot in Roman Reigns. It was a fine pay-per-view. If you needed 3 hours to watch wrestling this week, it was grand. If you didn't see it, you don't need to go out of your way. But we'll talk about the good in a second. But in at number 1 is one thing that I do want to get to. You've given us no context for this, so I don't know what's coming up. And you're a very brave man, Corporate Keane, because in at 1 you just wrote something from Fight Factory.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't get me wrong, great show. I really enjoyed it. But one thing I didn't enjoy came from the start of the show. So for those of you who weren't there, right, there were 2 speeches. The first one, obviously, for Lionheart. Not an easy task, but I thought went really well. Good speech. But the second speech was about pride. And for those of you who weren't there, General Manager Rick Nash came to the ring, and he could have said anything about what pride is really about. Instead, he grabs the mic and he's like, pride. When the jigsaw puzzle says 3 to 5 years, and you eat the whole thing in under 6 months. And everyone was just... and the crowd just went silent. Everyone was kind of awkwardly looking at each other. Rick was just smiling kind of aimlessly. Ben got up and left commentary. I was on my own after that. I put off my headset. I was off commentary too. I was like, I'm gonna need a minute. And everyone kind of stood around there awkwardly, and then Rick left, and the show started. So I'm just glad to fill people in, you know, in case you missed it. It was really bad, basically. So I'm just throwing it out there, yeah.
I'm getting a lot of shit for this. I thought it was fun. No. Katie's still gone.
It's the funniest analogy I've ever heard. It's something to be weirdly proud of.
I have no idea what he was going to say. This is awesome. Best of the week. First up, one from the good from Stomping Grounds. And there was a bit of it. Again, there's stuff that was just decent. The New Day against Sami Zayn and KO, they gave it a lot of time, and it was what the match you wanted it to be. So it's a really good tag match. If you really like those people, I'd recommend checking it out, but not essential, and that's the case for a lot of Stomping Ground. One really good part. Have you seen this? Because you'd be into this, Cobra King. The Ali vignettes. Have you seen this yet?
I have, actually, yeah.
He is now a superhero. And it's really cool, but also, did you pick up the same things that I did, right? So Ali is like, he's kind of doing Batman-styles promo, where he's like, he's just watching crime happening, and he's walking along and saving the day. And like, it is cool, and it's different, and it's something like WWE-style vignettes they can be very good at when they hit. But also, there's a little funny note to it, where like, it seems that his only superpower is walking towards this thing happening. So at one stage there's a man attacking a woman, and all Ali does is walk along with his hands in his pocket and his hood up really calmly. And he doesn't actually, you don't see him stopping it. You just see him walking toward it, and it's like, run! She's being attacked! Fucking run! Like, why are you just walking? Like, but it is cool, and it is different, and it gives Ali
maybe he's the villain. Maybe he just goes up and stares at it as it happens. And that's it. Technically, that could be what happened.
He's just a fucking crime cook.
Everyone completely misinterpreted the whole point of it. Like, that was actually a heel turn, and nobody picked up on it.
Amazing. Ricochet Samoa Joe is a very, very good match. It's what you wanted this match to be. And you didn't even feel like it was their best match, but it was really good. And afterwards, Ricochet ended up winning the US title, pulled off the surprise upset, and they made a huge deal out of it when he did. Like, his music must have played like 3 different times, and then he came to the back and like everyone was waiting and shook his hand and stuff like that. And then Triple H walks up to him and he's like, "You did it, kid." And it's like, holy shit! Like, this is over the US title. Like, this is I feel like this is a really big deal now. It was fucking class. Like, I have to say, last good thing from Stomping Grounds as well, the end of the Kofi Kingston Dolph Ziggler match. Very Kofi way to win the match. Ziggler is just kind of crawling out of the ring. The cage door is open. Ziggler's crawling out of the ring. Kofi just gets up and says, "Fuck it," and just does a dive over the top of him and gets out first. So that's how Kofi ended up retaining. It was really cool. Main event was a bit... they had Lacey Evans as the special referee. I'm not mad about the whole Becky's boyfriend, Seth Rollins kind of deal. I think it kind of hurts both of them. Are they saying Becky's boyfriend or Seth's girlfriend? Becky's boyfriend. Okay, that's all right. I'm fine. So the deal was Becky ended up making the save, and she ended up taking out Lacey, and then a regular ref came in, and then that's how Rollins got the win. And now they're doing a mixed tag at Extreme Rules. Belts on the line? Yeah, everything on the line, and then if Lacey and Baron don't win, then they never get title shots again. Like, at the two of them, you know what I mean? Like, I actually really like the idea of a tag team match where both singles titles are on the line. I just wish it was against anyone else. yeah, that's the only thing. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole... I feel like as well, like, I get where WWE's coming from. They're like, our Universal Champion and our Women's Champion, who we've made a huge deal out of, are actually a real-life couple. We got to do something with this, but, like... I don't know, it's weird. It's going to be really awkward when Rollins gets caught sending pictures of his dick to someone, like, and they've acknowledged this on television. Like, it's going to be real. We've all seen it. Well, let's not pretend we've seen it. Yeah, we shall wait and see. We'll discuss that more as the weeks go on. In number 4, talk to me about the good from NXT this week. I talk a lot of shit about the Undisputed Era, but like they're my "this is awesome" this week. Katie Hypocrite Harvey. Yeah, I was actually watching it with Phil last night, and he fucking stole my joke for Twitter. I was like, I think I'm starting to like these because they really remind me of the Mid-Card Mafia. And he was like, what? But when they do their entrance, they got the little hand signals and stuff, like, I'm into that. Still can't really tell them apart though. But they just started off with a promo and it was alright, but what it led to was my 3 favourite NXT wrestlers all coming out together. Tyler Breeze, Velveteen Dream, and oh my god. Oh, Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, sorry. My 3 favourites, and it led to a 6-man at the end of the night. And it's just a really good match. Nice. And I love when, like, I love odd fellow tag teams, odd couple tag teams, where they kind of play their own storyline into the match. And it was just really good because they did the whole, like, discontent between Breeze and Velveteen Dream. So it looks like we're getting a rematch, and hopefully it's better than the first one. And then Matt Riddle is just deadly, but, like, the touches between him and Roderick Strong, like, call back to their takeover match. Nice. It was worth, like, seeking out to watch. And I just love that Tyler Breeze is back on NXT, and I love that he's making storylines and he's going to be around for the long haul. I just love him. Who got the win in that match? Undisputed Era, because of miscommunication between Breeze and Dream. The chemistry. I did get really excited though, and I thought it was going to be like a 4-on-4, and I was like, oh my god, who's going to tag? I was like, Breezango, they're going to bring him back down as well. Shit. And I got so excited, but it didn't happen. Oh, well, who knows? Like, look, if anyone is poised to be dropped down to NXT again, it is Fandango. In at number 3. Speaking of comebacks, one from Raw. A lot of people are like going mad about this, but I'm not going to lie, I marked out. And we've had a lot to say about him recently on the show and whatever about the match. Undertaker came back this week, and it was fucking cool. So they had a handicap match, Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre against Roman Reigns. They're beating the shit out of Reigns. They're getting the better of him. And then all of a sudden, the lights go out and the bong hits. And you just didn't see it coming. Now, a lot of people may say, because it makes no sense, but I don't care. I marked out, and then like the bong went off, and then he appeared in the ring, and then he chokeslammed Shane, and then it's like, oh yeah, they had a WrestleMania match. Oh yeah. I can believe that they're enemies. Why not? And then like it was really cool. It popped me. It was something different. It kept you fucking awake during Raw as well. Like it's like, yes, okay, right. I'm actually fucking interested. There's something they're trying with WWE. It's the good. Like here's the thing. All this anti-WWE sentiment that's going on right now, it's happening when like. I think the product's actually watchable. You know what I mean? I think it's like a 24/7 and like fucking there was some good stuff on Raw. Like for example, Miz is coming out. He's just doing the walk backstage and they're saying Miz TV next. And then out of nowhere from the corner you just see the Abby doll from Firefly Funhouse just pop out and you're like, holy fucking shit. It actually scared you like they're actually trying and they're making an effort and they're like I think people just want to give out about WWE, but moments like this keep you on your toes and they're exciting. Even if it's not like there isn't an overall, like, I think they need something like, do you remember Nexus came in and just took over the summer, or the Summer of Punk? They need something like that which just takes over everything, like a big stable just coming together or something like that. And they may be working towards that with Shane McMahon and Drew and the Revival and all that stuff. But, like, week to week, there's some good stuff happening on it still. I'm not even sorry. I enjoyed this, and a lot of people didn't, but I got into it. Anyway, in at number 2, let's talk about the good from Fight Factory. Let's not talk about me.
Yeah. Well, besides that, it was actually a really good show. I got to commentate for it, which was daily. I fucking loved it.
Did you slag me off?
No, because you weren't wrestling, and also you gave me Pringles, so
that's true.
It was kind of part of the deal.
Preempted it. Gave him 2 flavours as well, just to guarantee you.
Covering your bases.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's always going to be that way, but for that show, fine.
Just keep buying more. Buy 3 the next show, 4 the one after
that's
that.
how it works. It just keeps going up and up and up.
Shit.
But yeah, no, overall, I actually did really, really enjoy the show. I love the Cruiserweight tournament, particularly the Maxer Fabio match. Flamboyant Fabio is how old again?
15.
What?
He is so good.
Like, what?
He is so fucking good.
That it's just fucking mad. That match was just like, and like, it's Ben put into perspective how much of an underdog he was coming into it. Then you add in the injury. That was something I was meant to put and say something stupid. Liam Royal being a sore loser was shit, but it led to a great match, and I fucking really enjoyed it. Then obviously the 6-man tag as well. You had Owen Your Destiny, Justy, and Andy Steele.
Yes! Oh my god, Team Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Yes. Against Valkyrie, Justin Daniels, and Big Rab. And again, I think that was kind of one of the matches that kind of people almost kind of forgot about because it was announced last minute, and there's all this like May Gresham hype, so nobody was really thinking about it. Yeah. And I just kind of, for me anyway, kind of just caught me out of nowhere. Like, this is actually fucking deadly.
Yes. Justy, like, Justy was the story of that match. Absolutely fantastic. I love this. And like, as well, here's the thing, right, that I love about it. Justy, like, for me, Justy was a babyface as soon as he left OTT originally. You know what I mean? Justy was like one of the biggest babyfaces in Ireland. But like, the thing is, the Justy character isn't necessarily a babyface. Now, PWU played around with this with like the tag team stuff, where everyone now loves Justy. Like, because we know, man, we had the Spanto and stuff like that, and people are like kind of waking up to the idea, he's actually alright. Like, he's actually a really nice guy. You know what I mean? Like, so people feel that about Justy, but there's a bit of a gap with it. And like, we have to like evolve his character to match where the audience is. So I loved where they went with this match, where it was all about the lads not tagging in Justy, and then you're fucking dying for it. I'm watching it beside Phil, and like, me and Phil are genuinely like fucking marking out like as Justy kind of clotheslines everyone, and it's like, we get to cheer Justy now. Fucking yes. It was really well put together, and yeah, they went in from a place where it's like, that's just another match to kind of pad out the cards to, is that the best match of the show? Like, that was class. That was fucking deadly. Rab and fucking Justin Daniels as well. So over, and deserve it. Like, they're doing awesome. So, props to everyone involved.
I said it like on the day, and I'm saying it again. Like, isn't it mad how Big Rab is better than Okada? It's not actually mad. Like, when you think about it, I think that's pretty crazy. I don't know, but Yeah, obviously then Gresham and May. You know, I feel like you. Do you want to say something about that?
No. I loved it. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Because I don't really know what to say. It's just. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be. You know what I mean? It lived up to the hype I felt, and it was fucking amazing to watch.
Michael May just belonged in there with him. He belonged, they were equals in there, you know, and you could see it. And that's the idea of having the match. But Michael still has to come out and live up to his end of the bargain, and they totally did. They were absolutely fantastic as well. What I loved about this match was the crowd. I spoke a little bit about this earlier. The crowd of the match was fantastic. For big matches, Irish wrestling crowds are absolutely class, because when it's time to have fun, they have the banter of the best British audiences, like the Progress shows, and they come up with funny chants and this and that. But when it's time to be respectful and watch wrestling, think back to this in an atmosphere not dissimilar in tone to, say, Walter Devlin, where everyone's just sitting back and fucking silent and tense and watching this match and enjoying it. It was Japanese, it was like sitting in a Japanese crowd where everyone's just watching and paying full attention to everything they're doing and not wanting to even make noise. But then when something cool happened, everyone's like, fucking hell, and that happened quite a lot as well. Absolutely loved it. The lads were fantastic.
But my favourite match of the night wasn't Gresham and May. My favourite match of the night was the tag team title match.
Yeah.
The triple threat tag match. The Cruisers versus More Than Hype versus Club Rock Shandy. Holy fucking shit, yeah? Club Rock Shandy are the most underrated tag team on this island. I can't believe they're not wrestling for OTT. I genuinely don't know how they're not. It's so fucking good, and I love that match. And it was just non-stop action, do you know what I mean? There was no there was just no stopping. It just kept happening. You're like, oh fuck. There's times in it where I was like, oh shit, Club Rock Shandy might win. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. I thought it was great, and I really enjoyed it.
The tone that these lads do is this. You're watching the future of wrestling when you're watching these guys, because it's not like the same tone as any other match style. You know what I mean? Because they've got another gear that they can tap into. They're young, they've got all this stamina and energy, and they've got their own notions about what wrestling should look like, and it's fantastic. And then you have the Cruisers in there as well, where it's just a bit of personality and comedy and character that they're just the Fight Factory tag division is absolutely killing it. And imagine a show with Michael May and Jonathan Gresham, and the lads get to come away and say, I think we stole that show. That's fucking amazing. So yeah, fantastic. Katie, your own thoughts from you went out and said, do you still stand by it? Afterwards we were talking and you were like, was that the best Fight Factory show? Do you think it?
I think it was. And the reason why I loved it so much is because we know More Than Hype are great. We know Michael May is great. What I loved was the buzz about the people who are unknown outside Fight Factory. Your Rock Shandys, your Andy Steeles, your Alexander Deans, your Fabios, all this, I think people like Gresham got people in the building. They're the people making people stay. And I think we're going to see them again the next show. And it was just a really emotional show for me because, we don't really do imports. We bring them in when there's a reason. And, Jonathan Gresham wanting to wrestle Michael May. Picking him out of every wrestler he's seen in the world and saying, I want to come to Ireland and I want to wrestle him because I like the way he wrestles. I got a little bit emotional watching. I was just so proud of Michael. He literally stood toe-to-toe with one of the best wrestlers in the world. And, had you believe in 100% like that, it was going his way. I just fucking loved it. I loved all the matches Keane mentioned. I just thought it was a really good show.
But speaking of unknown talent, Unknown with Match of the Night, absolute banger. Oh my god, I am devastated that's not going to be on the VOD. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just...
For a start, for anyone who's wondering what the hell you're talking about.
Unknown had a match on the pre-show against... who was he against? Do you remember?
Steinsy.
Yeah, and it was just... It was electric. It was mad. And that's probably a match of the weekend, to be honest. It was just...
We just rile ourselves up so much.
So what happens before Fight Factory is they have dark matches, and it's the wrestlers themselves are the audience, and anyone working on the show. It's the best crowd anyone involved will ever work in front of.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the actual wrestlers on the show get disheartened after the dark match because they know they won't get them pops. But it's a great way to prepare people for the main show. I think it's working out really well. It's a good element for training. But yeah, I was just really happy with the show. I just thought it was amazing start to finish, and I'm just really proud of everyone.
I actually would, and I'm not just like saying it, but I actually would call that, like, if we're going like top to bottom, that was probably for me the best Fight Factory episode so far.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I saw loads of people saying it when I was leaving as well. So yeah, I don't know, I loved it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love everything that's happening there, and like I know I'm part of it, but like it's a special thing to be a part of, and I'm honoured to be able to be a part of it too. In at number 1 though, in a huge week for Irish wrestling, it takes something fucking special to beat that show, but something did. OTG WrestleRama 3.
Oh shit! Some of this is so mad. Like, I swear to God, right? I could go through the whole show. I'm not going to. I just want to go through my personal highlights. The 3 main ones for me. First of all, Scotty Davis versus Darby Allin. Again, because the show was so stacked, like, it's not a match I really thought much of going in. Like, I've seen Darby Allin, I know how good he is, but it's one of those things where, like, you know when you watch a lot of wrestling, and on a screen you see a lot of different wrestlers, and because they're all top class, you don't really appreciate wrestlers because you're used to seeing all the best at once. Whereas, like, this is my first time seeing Darby Allin live, and I was like, holy shit, like, this lad is so good. And Scotty Davis is fucking deadly as well. I mean, I think that's kind of it's established now.
We know,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's not really top secret or anything, but it was just a really good match, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Then Terry Thatcher versus Mark Haskins.
This is what you were looking forward to.
I was looking forward to it until Vicky Haskins absolutely fucking ruined it. And I hope to God, again, that Linda absolutely decapitates the woman. But that was... it was a great match as well, and I thought so many times during that match I thought Terry was going to win it. You know what I mean? Even with Vicky debuting, and usually when someone like that debuts, it's like it's only going to go one way. I still thought Terry had it at certain points. I was like, oh shit! And I was fully invested. Like the video package beforehand as well, like with his like family, and it's real personal. And Terry Thatcher, he's just the ultimate face. You know what I mean? Like how could you not like? Because like for the whole show up until that point, I was relatively calm. But then once that started, you know, again, I think the video packages make a massive difference. Once they stop and then the entrances start, you're like,
Did you notice during his entrance the mask?
I did, yes.
He came out with the Irish Dragon mask.
Oh shit!
And then like took it off, but like still had it tied to his hoodie, and I was like, that is such a cool little throwback.
Yeah,
like,
so that was part of the video package as well. They showed, you know, Terry Thatcher as like the Irish Dragon, and when he was at Skinhead and all that.
Fucking awesome.
Loved it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and again, that's another reason I thought, you know, maybe he's going to win. Maybe this is the big moment. I hope he gets that moment at the stadium. I think it'd be so cool.
I'll cry. I'll just lose it, like.
I want them to do, because now Hoskins has won what I was saying last week on the show. I want Thatcher's big moment to be for the main belt. Like somehow, like I want them to do a Kofi with Terry Thatcher.
Like
I want that.
The thing about Terry Thatcher is he's such a good kind of hero that it's like he's already won the NLW title before, but him winning the title on Sunday would have still been like as big a moment, because it's like he's really easy to passionately root for. You know, does that make sense? So it's
he's
like
great. He's amazing at what he does.
I want to see a Grand Slam champion in Terry Thatcher. That's what I want to see.
Plus, he promised me a title shot if he wins the January.
That'd be even better. Terry Thatcher beating the shit out of Katie Harvey is just like my ultimate thing I want to see.
Politicking has started ahead of the comeback already.
But of course, match of the night, most important match of the night, the match that got Twitter talking, that got everyone talking. Walter versus David Starr. Holy shit. Mad. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It was fucking mad. Like, did you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to...
I thought it started off as a real normal match. And like, I was a bit like, oh, there's no way David Starr is beating Walter. It's just not happening. And then all this magic, once the belt came into it.
I think there was one moment in it where everything immediately just switched into like the next gear. And I think that was it. I think it was where he started taunting with the title and he stamped on it and everyone's just losing their shit.
But even before that, when Walter went to chop him and he put the belt up instead, so Walter chopped the belt. I was like, that's so fucking clever. Like, that's,
it was so good.
It was so clever. Good. My favourite bit, they did some belt shot, whatever, and David Starr has him down. And you know the way usually when the ref is out and they have him down and the crowd starts counting 1, 2, 3, so you know they have him down. Walter kicked out at 2. He kicked out at the crowd chanting like stuff like that is what made it excellent.
So many little things that just made it what it was, and it was just it's hard. And what made it really interesting as well is the crowd, like the crowd reaction to it, because the lines between hero and villain now are so blurred. Like at the start, I was like, oh, everyone's going to be cheering for Walter, myself included. Yeah, go on, Walter. And then about like 5 minutes in, everyone's cheering Star, and I'm cheering Star, and then I'm cheering Walter again, and I'm cheering Star again. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is so, like, I can't even describe it. Like, it's so weird. And then obviously the DQ happened. Have you seen this?
I've heard about it.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't see it or don't know what happened, basically, right, my memory's gone hazy. There was a DQ because Star did an Eddie Guerrero on it and made it look like Walter hit him with the title when he didn't. Foxy turned around and basically was like, oh, that's a DQ. And I was like, no fucking way. The whole crowd like, no fucking way. But like, a lot of them were happy because they got to see, everyone wants to be in the building when Star beats Walter. Yeah. So I think that kind of played into it. And then Devlin came out in a versus decision. Devlin got booed. The whole crowd turned against Devlin, and it was like, whoa, what is this? And then the match.
How did Jordan react? Like, did he react to the crowd turning on him, or
everything was just so frantic?
Right.
Like, there was no reaction.
I have never seen a match this kind of, like frantic or hectic. Like, it's just chaos. Like, the whole crowd, like, no one knows how to feel, but everyone feels something. So everybody's loud and passionate, but everyone's just like freaking out. It was just. It was just a journey.
It was like an Anchorman where Brick just shouts loud noises. You didn't know what you were shouting for. You were just shouting.
Yeah, and that's actually and that's pretty much it. Like it was just a journey, especially to describe it. And it's like I can't wait for the next one. I'm fucking buzzing.
You think it's a triple threat?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely where they're going with it. Surely, I hope so.
Has to be.
Like
that'd be so good.
That has to be how you end the whole storyline. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I thought it ended with Devlin Walter at the last one, but then I'm like, I suppose Star is also a crucial part of it.
Think Max is going to get involved?
No.
Or do you think he's done?
Well, maybe on the shows leading up to it, but
because
I think
that was only a roll-up finish. To me, that's not like Max and Jordan definitively done.
And it wasn't in the main event either, so like it's like, right, we're coming back to this. We're
but I don't think that'll be like in a part of the Star Walter thing. I think that's kind of separate.
Yeah. Imagine if they did a reverse of the match they did before, and it's now going to be Maxer and David Starr against Walter and Jordan. Like, what if that's one of the lead-ups?
Yeah, because they do have a long time. Because you got to assume, me and Kim were talking about this beforehand. It's probably going to main event the stadium show in October, the 4th anniversary. So there's a long time between now and then. So they do have to.
They're all on the Cork show.
There you go.
Oh, how deadly is this?
I think you called it there. I think Joe was like, shut up, Katie.
It's okay, I never know what's going on, Joe. You're safe. But you didn't mention my other favourite match on the show.
We'll go for it.
Tropicana and the Rapture.
I
fucking loved it.
Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline they came out to. And they had a whole routine, and it was just excellent. I brought the Belgians who were on Fight Factory with me, their whole family was there, and they were just like, what was that? That was amazing. I love it. And then like there was this moment with Charlie Sterling and Fabulous Nikki in the ring, and they're the same person. They look exactly the same.
Holy shit!
Except like it's like two sides of the same coin. Like,
now that I think about it,
it was a really good match. Like, it was so good, and like I just loved it.
It was a great show.
Did they have a spot in it where they were like reaching out, touching like someone like reaching for a tag or something like that?
No.
Oh well, they could do it again. There you go. Save it, lad. Save it. Save it.
It was just so like, I think it's so cool having this like at my doorstep, you know what I mean? Not only in Dublin, in Tala. Just it's like icing on the fucking cake, man. I love OTT. It's dead.
There you go, guys. What an amazing week. I've just checked there. That is online on OTT On Demand or on their new app. So, very fancy. There you go. Check that out if you haven't seen it like me. That's what I'm going to be watching when I'm going home. I cannot wait to see that match. I was hoping to be online beforehand. Guys, that is the wrestling week that was, but we have a big weekend ahead of us. Shout out to former Low Blows host Dom Marnell, who on Saturday morning, starting at 10 a.m. by the way on New Japan World, if you want to check it out, will be commentating for New Japan Southern Showdown from Australia. We've main event Will Ospreay, Katie Garvey destroying the table here. The main event of Will Ospreay defending the junior heavyweight title against Robbie Eagles, and watch it for Don as well. Like, so watch it for the whole show. 10 a.m. that starts. Then Saturday night we have AEW Fighter Fest, which is like, I said this on Twitter, and it's worth bearing in mind, guys. Temper your expectations for this show. I think All Out is their second big show. This is like a kind of mashup. This is like it's a corporate gig with CEO who are like an interactive gaming company. They did a show last year with New Japan, which is kind of the basis for this show, CEO x New Japan. I don't know if you remember, the big talking point from that show was Kenny Omega actually had a sex offender in a dark match on this.
Yep.
The show got a lot of heat. It was a bit weird. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think they're going to have their shit together for it.
Hopefully no sex offenders.
But it's going to be, I think they'll make sure of that. But they're going to have, like, it's not in front of a wrestling audience either. It's in front of a gaming audience because they're going for, like, this is part of a festival with CEO. So it's going to be different and it could be a bit weird.
I'd say gaming nerds and wrestling fans are a massive crossover, though, you know what I mean?
There is, yeah. So, but, like, at the same time, I'm just saying, if it's not Double or Nothing, don't freak out. All Out is their next big show. But we will be discussing it all next week on Low Blows. In the meantime, on the Low Blows Network, you can check out the latest Couch Punter podcast. It gets a bit real. Kigo going through some emotional stuff. So he talked it out on the air. A very interesting podcast. We'll have Ask Low Blows up on Thursday, where we'll talk TK or Cream Soda. We'll be talking about accepting adulthood, and we'll be making an Irish wrestling version of Westlife. Also, we have a Comic-Con special of Talk Nerdy to Me on Friday. Jerry was at Comic-Con. Got a few exclusive interviews, so keep an eye open for that. Katie, there's no Fight Factory. Are you plugging anything? Are you just chilling, or what's going on?
We still have DVDs on sale to add to our Pride collection. So far we've raised over €100 through selling the t-shirts, but that is now closed. But any DVDs and stuff we ship before the 30th of June, we'll add to the collection, and that donation will be made on the last day of the month.
Okay, excellent, guys. Get on to the Fight Factory social media and get that. And that is, for clarity, that's until next Monday, so get on that ASAP. Or Sunday, so get on that ASAP. Corporate Keen, you've got a big week coming up in YouTube, I believe.
No, it's I've just been busy with some stuff, so I'm going to be hopefully having 2 videos out by this time next week, one on Sunday, one on Tuesday. And I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'll tell you the first one, right? We're putting AEW out of business. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I kind of sorry for like wasting your time with that plug earlier, but they're done.
Alright, excellent. So keep an eye out for that. You get to watch Spider Fest before that comes out, guys, anyway, so check that out. Guys, it's been a stressful week for us. It's been a fun week on Twitter. Hopefully things calm down. Hopefully we can all just like go back to being friends ahead of a big wrestling weekend there. That's wishful thinking. And anyway, guys, we'll be back next week with whatever crops up in the meantime. But until then, for Rick Nash, for Katie Harvey, for Corporate Keen, that's the bottom line. As Lobo said so.